May I read the intro?
Absolutely. Yep.
Just to give people a little taste. So, Bleed by Chris Cooper. Kevin has cut his hand, and it's really bleeding, pooling into the sink as the water cascades onto his fingers from the kitchen faucet. He's not panicked, though. It's just stinging as he holds it underneath the spout, the rapids rush masking the sides of his fingers, and he can barely see the wound, just the streaks of red that ruddle the water. It's rather mesmerizing, though, watching the water pass, millions of harmonized droplets falling at once, synchronizing as it pours, and Kevin forgets he's even wounded for a moment.
Yeah. And that's the
powerful.
And it's one of those stories that doesn't have a buildup. It brings you right into the action, and the entire story takes place in one spot, in front of his kitchen sink. And to kind of dive into the symbolism of it is he's bleeding, right, physically, but that's not where the pain is coming from. The pain is coming internally. He's bleeding figuratively. And the worst kind of pain isn't the pain that is on the outside. It's not a bruise. It's not a black and blue. It's not a laceration per se. It's internally. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. And I wanted to juxtapose these two elements where, yes, he's bleeding figuratively, but that's not really where the issue is at. It's his internal trauma that is bleeding. It's pouring through. So the rest of the story, he's got his hand cut, but you come to learn that he's dealing with a divorce from a year now. He's learned that his wife that he was married to, they didn't have children together, and now he just found out that she had her first child. Like these really poignant aspects of someone's life that you can repress for so long until it just starts to bleed.
Yeah, and I love the way that it started right in the middle of the action. Like there's no buildup. It's just, if it was a movie, you feel like you just come in and you see the guy holding his hand in the sink, and you feel what's happening, even though you don't know why at first. All you know is the physical, and then you find out the emotional elements that went into it later. But I love the way it kind of zoomed in on this snapshot really quickly, and then it zoomed out throughout the story. It's like almost like the opposite approach, where it's like start just in the middle of the action, and then explain some of the things that went on later.
And so when you progress through the story, you'll see a lot of juxtapositions of physical like ways of applying care and bandages next to emotional ways of protecting yourself. So he's taken his hand and he's swathed it in a bundle of paper towels, and he's not ready to look at it yet, just like his subconscious, because at the end of the day, we have a subconscious that is stored with trauma and issues and conflicts that we tend to avoid. And all of this story, all of the actions in this story are pretty much metaphors for depression and anxiety and how we go through our day, how we deal with those sort of things. And one of the aspects in the story he talks about is that he's still transfixed on the vibrant color of his blood, and it elicits a memory of his mother and father's matching Christmas sweaters. And that elicits a deeper sense of nostalgia, which hurts even more than his actual cut.